everyone to my channel, and thank you for joining today's episode of Fall in August. In today's video, I created these 3 easy fall DIYs using Dollar Tree items. So if you Bellas are ready, let's get to crafting. So in this first DIY, I took 4 of those wedding decorations that Dollar Tree came out with, and I removed the backings to them, as I'm going to paint those over with the Waverly White chalk paint. I also have some crafting sticks that I'm going to paint as well, and I gave these a good couple of coats so the wording wouldn't come through. And after that, I painted the crafter sticks, and I only painted just the one side. I didn't paint both sides. I just wanted to go ahead and just get it for the side that I needed them. And after that, I got this family sign from Dollar Tree, and I went ahead and spray painted it gold. I didn't do it on video because my spray paint, I did that somewhere else. So after that, I went ahead and turned those stakes over and went ahead and measured about 1 inch apart and used the crafter stick with the painted side toward the front and hot glued those together. And I put 2 on each 2 pieces and connected them that way. So you can see that I'm trying to keep it straight as much as possible. And these ones I ended up cutting down because I overlapped those first 2 too much, so I had to cut them down so I could get them glued onto the other 2 pieces. And then I put the 4th piece together. Until they were all together. And I went ahead and let that stay like let this hot glue stick, sorry. And so after that, I decided on what color I wanted to paint this, whether I wanted to paint it multicolored or just stick with the white. And this, I went ahead and did the checkered black. So here I am just using some masking tape to create my lines, and I went down and then I went across. And this was a part that took a little bit of time, of course, because you want to make sure that everything is almost even. Doesn't have to be perfect, but at least you try to get it as even as possible. And I just used a Sharpie to create those lines, because I'm going to use some black acrylic paint, and we're going to go ahead and just color every other check, as you will see. I mark them because I didn't want to make mess ups, and this is a way for me to know which boxes I'm gonna be painting black. So of course I get my acrylic paint and I paint every other piece, every other square. And this also took a little bit of time, but if you use just a real flat square brush, it's easy. And so as you can see, I'm completing the checkered fence. And by this time, my family sign should be dried. So what I did end up doing was getting some of the white acrylic paint, and I went ahead and went over the black just to soften it up. I wanted it to age it a little bit and make it a little, I don't want to say rust out because it's not red, but but it kind of aged it, gave it that farmhouse look. And I wanted to stick with just a basic either white color or a simple neutral color so I could use this throughout the year if I wanted to. And I don't use it for specifically just for fall. I want to be able to use it maybe for Christmas or whatever for the next year. For summer decorating, it's up to you. But I did like the contrast to the gold with the family. So after I did that and the paint dried, I went ahead and took those stands that were on the originally on those posts, and I went ahead and put some E6000 and hot glue on them, and I let them dry for a good maybe 30 minutes, maybe an hour, as I used each piece, 4 of them, so that they could hold the fence and the sign, because the sign of course is a little bit heavier than the fence was, so I wanted to make sure that it was gonna be able to stand while it was holding that sign. So I went ahead and put that aside, and from there I went ahead and, since I'm leaving that a neutral, whether it's fall, Christmas, or whatever, I went ahead and created some bows, and I used the buffalo plaid ribbon, and as well as this, which I am so happy that maybe I didn't use maybe I was playing around with the buffalo plaid, but I went ahead and used this burlap lace from Dollar Tree. I love this burlap ribbon, and I went ahead and got also the ribbon, the fall ribbon that Dollar Tree is carrying right now, and I just made 2 bows out of that. And if you guys want to see how I make those bows, leave a comment down below, and I'll do a video for just bows, creating bows. And I did a dovetail, and so after that I went ahead, and of course the stands were dry, and I used wood glue as well as hot glue so that I can get it to stay in place while the wood glue was drying. And I centered it to where I wanted it to stand, and as you can see, the stand did work, and I was very happy that it did. And so I just tied that bow to the fence, played around to see where I wanted to place it at, and I ended up putting it in that corner end, and this is how it turned out. I really loved it with the pumpkins. I mean, and for the different seasons you could add, Christmas colors, Christmas bells around it, and just change it up every season. And then I also put it along with my tree that I made out of Olivia's romantic home, and I'll show y'all, leave a link for that on her video. So on this next DIY, I went ahead and took those 2 of those Dollar Tree fall wood signs, and I love the red and white on those. I do not want to lose that color on those, so I combined 2 of them. I glued them together because those were going to be initially my stand, and I let them, the glue set. Then I went ahead and just made sure that it was staying in place, and I just painted it with a white Waverly chalk on top, trying not to get any of the paint on the sides because I did want to keep that red and white. And so then after that, I went ahead and took those real pretty, I don't want to say pastel, but those colorful pumpkins Dollar Tree was carrying, and fell in love with those pumpkins. I did not want to paint them. I love the maybe the metallic look on them, and so I went ahead and got that glitter, well, not glitter, the bling tape that Dollar Tree also had out for this year, and I went ahead and just put that. I wanted to bling those pumpkins up, just bring out a little bit of sparkle, and I added those, about 4 on each side, I believe, and I did it for all 4 of them. Cut it down, and every couple creases of the pumpkin I went ahead and added a little bit of that bling. And I think it took, for all 4 of them, I think it took maybe 2 sheets, maybe, or no, maybe just 1.5 sheets. So that right there is just $2. Because I didn't use the other. I don't think I used the other half of that second sheet of that tape. And I loved how they give it a little bit of sparkle. And so after that, after the paint dried on the stand, I went ahead and hot glued and put a little E6000 so they stayed sturdy on the stand. And I just unleveled them. I didn't put them straight on, just to give it a little bit of texture look on it. And so then I went ahead and took some of that deer moss and hot glued that onto there, because it is a pumpkin patch and I wanted to give it that little bit of greenery to it. So I added that moss to just the top of the stand, and then I added in those real pretty fall leaves that came with those pumpkin sticks that Dollar Tree was selling. And I just placed them wherever I wanted to, and I just made sure the green was placed wherever it needed to be. And so on the final, my third DIY, I went ahead and took those vases, those little cute little, I want to say they look like gourd vases, and I got a gray one, and I thought about painting it white, but I was like, it's I mean, I like the color gray, so I just went ahead and left it, but I did add that bling tape on those down, and I added like 3 of them, maybe on, yeah, every 3 I think I did 3 of those, and just to bling it up as well, just so it could go with my pumpkin patch, because that was initially what I wanted to add it to. And in all, I used 2 of those sheets for both projects. So those are really cute, just to bling up some of your decorations or whatever crafts or whatever you're doing, arts. And then I also had some of that. I went ahead and got some mini pomegranates, which I'm loving right now. And also just a little bit of that glitter leaves, the fall leaves that Dollar Tree also has been carrying. And I just wanted those 2 flowers. I thought about adding a blue to it, but I was like, I'm just going to keep it just with an orange. And the little crease on there took a little bit of time to get it straight. So it took me a little bit of time on that one. And here you can see, of course, we're removing the tag, the infamous tags on the Dollar Tree flowers. And I just went ahead and placed those in the vase, fluffed them out just a little bit, and so it wouldn't fall, because it was a little bit top heavy, so I kept wanting to make the vase fall over. So I just shifted the leaves around just so that it would stand on its own. And as you can see, this is the final outlook for both pieces together, and I loved how it looked. Well, Bellas, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Fall in August. If you did, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for upcoming videos. May God bless you all. Have a blessed day, and goodbye for now.